Right guys, if you've ever done a renovation project, you may have had to battle a brick arch. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of these, which is an arch former for above a window or an opening or anything like that. Right, just a little disclaimer before you watch this video. I'm going to show you how to build an arch former. This is just one way to do it. There are multiple different ways for multiple different applications. So this is how we've done it for the windows that we needed on this property. And that's it. Hopefully we'll do another video in the future where we show you the other ways of doing an arch former, but this is how we're doing it in this case. Enjoy the video guys. Really easy, just need a few tools. String line, screws, a drill, a pencil, tape measure, straight edge and a square. So if you have a window opening like this with an arch like that, you're going to need a former if you're bricking this up above. So the former that I just showed you effectively sits in this point here and then comes down slightly like that, and then you can use props to hold it up in place, and then you can build your bricks on top of the former. Once everything's gone off, you remove the former out of the way and your brick arch stays in the place and your bricks are there nice and simply and lovely and just how you want them without them all falling out. First of all, what you need to do is figure out your spring point. There's your arch, these are your reveals. So you need to take a measurement from this point here to this point here, to the top of your arch, so the spring point. So what you need to do is get your level, hold a level across here to these 2 points, and then get a tape measure and measure from the top of your level to the underside of the arch here, like this and like that. That will give you your spring point. In this instance, our spring point is 60mm, which just so happens to be the thickness of this level. Let's show you exactly how we mark it out, and then we can show you the rest of the process. So I know my window is 900mm wide. So what I'm going to do is get some markings on this board first of all. So to make sure I'm away from the edge, I'm going to mark 100mm here. And then what I'm going to do is mark a metre over here. That gives me then 900 in between this point and this point. What I'm then going to do is draw a line between the two. And because I know I've got a nice square edge-ish on this board, I'm going to hold my roofing square like that to make sure that this is a nice square line with the edge of my board, just to make sure as you're moving forward that everything is nice and parallel and your measurements are accurate. So I'm going to do a line between the two like that. So I've got my point here. This is effectively my reveals here, and then I need to measure my spring point, which is up here. So if you remember, my spring point was 60mm, which this is 60mm. But if it's any different, all you need to do is hold your tape measure on the top here. What I like to do is get it from 100mm because it's more accurate rather than trying to hold the end of your tape on. If you go from 100mm and then obviously just take 100mm off your overall measurement. So I can go, if it was a 100mm spring point, I'd go to 200 like that, and then I know I've got 100mm. But because I know that it's 60mm, I'm just going to do this. So I'm going to hold my level on the line, and then I'm going to strike another line across here like that. So this now is the top of my arch. My spring point is going to be here, which is going to be in the centre of my reveals and the centre of my arch. So what I'm going to do, I know that I started from 100mm and I know that overall it's 900mm, so it's taken me to 100. So I need to measure, I need to basically mark the middle of this, which is going to be 550mm. So now what we need to do is form our arch from this point to the here, and then from here to this point here, and that will give us a nice arch. Obviously this isn't going to be easy to do. You could try and freehand it, but it's going to be very difficult to get a nice even arch throughout it. So this is where the screws and the string line come in. We've got our reference points here and here, and what we're going to do is put a screw in it. We're going to come just to the side of this line. All will become apparent in a minute. I'm going to put that screw in a little bit there, and we're going to move over to this side and put it on the opposite side of the line, just to the outside, and we're going to put that there. Then we're going to get another screw there, and another randomly placed screw, let's say there. String line. What we need to do is loop our string line over this first screw, and then we're going to open it up and we're going to go around here, and and then we're going to hold it there a second. Right, you want to adjust your line so it's just at the top of your threads so it grabs a bit, and we've got enough room to get our pencil in, which will become obvious why in a minute. Just going to tie my string line off so it doesn't end up on the floor like that. And then what we're going to do, using our string line, we're going to get our pencil, we're going to hold it here, and we're going to draw a line like this and like this. So what you need to make sure is that this string line is nice and taut, but not too taut, just the right tautness. So it comes to this point here like that, and that will help you then keep a nice uniform line right the way across. If it's too loose, you're going to come all over the place and you're going to be too high. You need to make sure that you've got just the right amount of tension. You might need to do this a few times. Just as a disclaimer, this might not work perfectly the first time, but you need to just make sure you've got the right amount of tautness in this string line just to give you the right arch formation. So now we've got the right tautness, I hope tautness is the right word, we're going to wrap it off around this last screw. And that is just going to hang down there out the way. And that makes sure then that we can come to here. Yeah, we don't want it to be too tight so we're forcing it, but it just needs to be just right. You'll get there, just a bit of trial and error. Okay, now the fun bit. Get your pencil. Obviously you've got a true trade pencil. If you haven't, why not? You're missing out. Bring it to your spring point in the middle, and then using gentle force, we're aiming to get to this screw here, and then we're going to come back here and then go to that screw there. You can, if you want, just go from one side to the other, whatever you find easy. But like I say, we're probably going to have to do this a couple of times just to make sure it's equal. Hold it on the point, hold it as vertical as you can. You're trying to maintain equal pressure all the way along, and then we're just going to go like that, and then we're going to come back here, and we're going to go like that. Now it is a little bit wobbly because I'm doing this on shutter and ply, so if you want to make it a lot easier for yourself, do it on some nice smooth ply. However, this is going to be perfectly fine because you can now take a rough guess from this, an average, and then use your jigsaw to cut it out. I'll go over it again. Now you've got a pretty good line. There are a couple of wobbly bits in it, but you can soon take that out with a jigsaw. Now all you need to do, remove your string line, and now you can see your arch. Now the screws are out, you've got your arch, it's time to cut it out to make your former. So get your square those lines off nicely from this point here. The reason we put our screws slightly to the side of the line was because when I came in with my pencil, you can see that it's met here on this point. If I'd moved my screw onto that point, it would have moved the arch slightly in further, so then ultimately that would have changed the dimensions of it. So get your square now, square off your lines, like so, and then you need to get a jigsaw or a handsaw. You're going to need a jigsaw for the arch, but get yourself a jigsaw and cut this out. And that will give you, like Blue Peter, here's one I made earlier, one of these. So once you've cut it out, you've got then your template. You can then place it on another bit of ply, mark around it, cut that out, and then you've got two, like this. You then need to put it all together. So all I've done in this case is got some 4x2, stuck it in between, screwed it through here as well, and then we've got a nice solid former, and our bricks will sit perfectly on top of here and form our arch. That is how you make